good morning. My name is Jeremy Pierce, Operations Section Chief for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3, and this is your update for September 13th. The fire on the lower section in Highland, we've got black line on the map, and that represents an area where we consider the fire out. We'll have crews in there on a patrol status, but we've been able to repopulate the communities in the foothills there because we're confident that that fire is out in that area. As we move up to 330, we're starting to add black line in that area as well. We're going to add additional black line today, but that also has allowed us to move some resources to the other side of the fire, and is really, we're confident that that 330 corridor is holding. The upper piece up by City Creek Fire Station, right where it says Division Charlie or Division C, that's the last piece of that 330 corridor. It slopped over there. It's in a steep, deep drainage up there, and the crews have been working the last 3 days. We're confident that by the end of today, we've got line around that. And what we're really concerned about is any type of heat or rollout that will roll down into that drainage and then cause us problems. So the crews will maintain a presence up there to make sure any hot and all hot spots up there are taken care of. We'll have a little bit of aerial support in there as well to maintain that. We'll continue to run infrared each night over the fire and focus on both that section of the lower section of 330 and that upper section of 330 above City Creek Fire Station in the City Creek drainage. Moving around the top, up into the Running Springs area where it says Branch 10, Division H and M. We've got a lot of crews up in there today. They'll be cutting out a 500-acre what we call an island of unburned fuel below the community. So we have fire below it and fire around the top of it, and it's an unburned island. It's a concern for us down the road. It's not showing any type of extreme fire behavior at this point. It's kind of a slow-moving, creeping fire in there, but we're worried about any type of weather event down the road. So we will be in there today with a little bit of aerial support, and our crews will be cutting that out all day today with a large presence, and we're thinking it's a 2 or 3 day process to cut that entire piece out by hand. It's just so steep and very dangerous terrain, and it's heavy fuels. So it'll be a very detailed and very long operation up there for the next 2 or 3 days. Moving along to the east, you'll see that big, huge finger of unburned fuel in there. We've got line across the top of it, and we'll continue that line. But just to the west side of it, on the backside of Keller Peak, we did have some spot fires that, as it made that run up Keller Peak on the backside of Keller Peak into the children's trail area. The crews are cutting that out. They've picked up almost all those spot fires with line around them yesterday. We've got 2 or 3 more that will continue today, and then we should be able to put that area to rest as well, which will really tie that whole northern section of the fire, tie it together and wrap it around. And then we've got line all the way to where it says 55. Up by the snow dip up there. That line we've got with dozer and some hand line as well. And that will bring us all the way to the edges of our Bear Creek drainage. Our Bear Creek drainage has been one of the areas that we're really trying to figure out how we're going to deal with it. And what we've decided is we're going to send crews down into that Bear Creek drainage, and they'll be cutting it out. It'll be a long process, probably a 5-day event. We'll have helicopter support for them, and we'll have some safety mitigations that will have to take place. But due to the weather for the next 7 days, we're confident that fire behavior-wise, we can keep this in its footprint with some very slow growth over the next couple of days. So we're going to take advantage of our weather. We're going to take advantage of the high humidity, and we're going to take advantage of the lack of wind. And we're going to get our crews down in there and cut that whole piece out. And it'll be a lengthy process with a lot of people. Moving over into the Big Bear drainage, we still have the potential for fire runs up to what we call the plateau, which is right up on the top there where that enormous fuel break was done from the Forest Service. And fire will creep up and make slope runs up that drainage up to the plateau and then slop over the plateau. We're pushing dozer line around that entire plateau all the way back to the Bear Creek drainage and then north to the dam. Once we get to that piece that should be able to mitigate any of our problems in that in the Big Bear area. So the next 2 or 3 days will be critical for that operation to go. As we move down off the plateau and where it says Division Romeo into the Clark's Grade area, crews are continuing to improve that line coming down Clark's Grade, the N54 road, and push down into the bottom into the Seven Oaks road system, and then move back to the west and tie directly into the fire. Over the next day or so, we should have direct line all the way around that entire eastern flank, all the way back down to the dam, which has been a tremendous progress. Next 2-3 days is that critical piece for us to get this entire eastern section with line around it from Big Bear all the way back down to the dam. And once we get that and our eastern progression stopped, we'll be able to repopulate our Angeles Oaks area, our Mountain Home area, and take some of our areas back down to a warning or possibly the evacuation all the way off. So the next 3 days, I would say, is our critical piece here with our resources. We've got a good plan. They're all going to work with the air support, infrared, some drone activity, and the crews in there digging and cutting line in some steep, gnarly terrain. We feel that we can wrap this thing all the way back down to the dam and get all of our citizens repopulated and back to some sense of normalcy, as well as mitigate any future damage to the forest areas and mitigate our huge watershed of the Santa Ana River drainage and the Bear Creek. So that's my update for the line fire for September 13th. Thank you.